heard my own voice, coming from upstairs, while I was standing in the hallway downstairs, and my 4-year-old son was up there alone. That's where this story starts. And I want you to understand, before I tell you any of it, that I know what I heard. I know what I saw. And I know that whatever was in my house that afternoon was not supposed to be there. So, quarantine, early 2020. Just me and my son Benjamin in a house we'd moved into a few weeks before everything shut down. We'd gotten all the furniture off FreeCycle because rent had eaten my entire paycheck. The wardrobe in my bedroom, the couch, the beds, all secondhand. I didn't have money for toys, so we made do with what we had. And what we had was hide and seek. Benjamin was obsessed. We played every single day, multiple times a day. The rules were always the same. I hid, he sought. He'd count in the kitchen while I found somewhere good, and I'd call out, "Yoo-hoo," every few minutes so he could track me down. When he got close, I'd stick a hand or foot out and he'd absolutely lose his mind. 4-year-olds are gloriously easy to entertain, so one afternoon he tugged my hand and said, "Hide again." I told him it was almost bedtime. He gave me the look. I caved. I told him to go count in the kitchen. He ran around the corner. 1, 2, and I bolted through the living room looking for somewhere good. And then I saw it. The hall closet. Perfect. I ducked inside, pulled the door mostly shut, all those old coats pressing in around me, and I pulled out my phone to scroll while I waited. I could hear his little footsteps moving around downstairs, getting closer, then drifting away. I cracked the door slightly and called out, "Yoo-hoo!" His footsteps got louder, then went up the stairs. He was going to search every room up there before figuring out I was down here. More time for me. I settled back and pulled out my phone. "Mommy," I heard him call from upstairs. "Mommy, where are you?" And then I heard it. Yoo-hoo. Soft, clear, coming from upstairs. My voice, my exact voice, calling from upstairs, where my son was, alone, every muscle locked. My brain was reaching for an explanation, an echo, the TV, anything, and coming up with nothing. I burst out of the closet. "Benjamin?" I screamed his name, running for the stairs. "Benjamin, where are you?" I heard his footsteps above me, his giggles trailing down. I took the stairs 2 at a time. "Benjamin!" And then I heard him, small voice from behind the bathroom door. "I see your feet." I shoved the bathroom door open and grabbed him. He was pressed into the corner behind the toilet, eyes wide, not laughing. He'd been hiding, genuinely hiding, not playing. He was scared. I held him and looked around the bathroom. Then I carried him into the hallway. And that's when I made myself look at the wardrobe. The door was slightly open. I always kept it closed. I stood there in the hallway holding my son, staring at that wardrobe. And I told myself it was nothing. I told myself just check, and it'll be nothing, and this will all be fine. I took 1 step toward it, then another. I reached out and slowly pushed the door the rest of the way open. The coats and dresses hung there, still and dark, and at the bottom, beneath the hems of the hanging clothes, 2 feet, just sitting there. I didn't scream. I couldn't. It was like something shut off in me. I just grabbed my son, ran down the stairs, out the front door, and didn't stop until I was at my neighbor's house, pounding on their door. The police came. 2 officers. They searched every room, every closet, every space a person could fit. Nothing. No signs of forced entry. No open windows. They told me to call if anything else happened and drove away. I stayed at a friend's house for 2 weeks, and the whole time I was there, I kept thinking about those feet, the color of them, that grayish, waterlogged look that didn't belong to any living person. The toenails, blackened and split, like something that had been wet for a very long time. And I kept thinking about the wardrobe, where I got it, who gave it to me. A man on free cycle. He said his mother had just passed and he was clearing out her things as fast as he could. I took it without asking any questions. I should have asked how she died. My mom taught me how to hide when I was 10 years old. Not the fun kind of hiding, the kind where your life depends on it. I didn't understand that at the time. I just thought we had a game. Every few evenings, my mom and I would drive to the park and play hide and seek. Just the 2 of us. She'd count to 100, I'd run and disappear, and the rule was, no matter what I heard while I was hiding, I didn't come out. Not until the 20 minutes were up. She told me every single time, "Don't come out, Clara. Not for anything." The first time I didn't listen. The first time her voice drifted past my hiding spot, calling my name, saying she was cold, saying she just wanted to go home. I came out. I thought the game was over. I thought she needed me. She grabbed my shoulder so hard I yelped. "I told you not to listen to me," she said. Her face was tight in a way I'd never seen. "Didn't I tell you? You do not come out." She didn't speak to me on the drive home. After that, I learned. No matter what the voice said, I stayed hidden. Even when she walked past me crying, even when she said she was sick, even when she said the game was over, and when I got good enough that she couldn't find me, she'd give me this smile when we got back to the car. Not happy. Quieter than that. Something that looked a lot like relief. I didn't understand why until the night my father came. I'd met him twice in my whole life, mostly a stranger. But I knew his face, and I knew the way my mom went white the second she saw him standing in our kitchen when I got home from school. He looked at me and smiled in a way that made my skin crawl, like I was something he was deciding what to do with. That evening, before he could hear, my mom pulled me close and whispered, "Tonight, don't come out, not even after 20 minutes." She said it so quietly, I felt it more than heard it. When it got dark, my mom suggested a trip to the park. My dad came with us. He was in a good mood, loud, restless, the kind of energy that fills a room and makes you want to be small. At the park, my mom pointed at a tree in the distance, said something about how trees were stuck in place, unable to get away from what was killing them. She was telling me to run. I said I saw a squirrel near that tree and I wanted to go look. and then I disappeared into the dark. I knew those woods better than anywhere. I found a thick cluster of bushes far from the path, got down on my stomach, and controlled my breathing the way my mom had taught me. Still, quiet, invisible. After a few minutes, I heard them searching. "Clara," my dad called. Warm, cheerful. "Where are you, sweetheart? If you're hurt, say something." "Clara," my mom's voice. "Clara, can you hear me?" I stayed still. They passed me once, twice, 3 times. I pressed flat and didn't breathe. Then they moved away. I thought it was over. But then a voice came back. Just one voice this time. Coming from behind me, low and slow, working its way through the dark in my direction. My mother's voice, except it wasn't. "Clara, I know you're close. It's only a matter of time before I find you." Something about the cadence was wrong, too flat, too patient. "I'll start with your forearms," the voice said, peeling the skin back with a dull knife, just like peeling cheese. I pressed my face into the dirt. "I don't eat the bones, but I'll take them home and suck on them." 20 meters away. I always wondered what eyes taste like whole. 10 meters. I did not move. I did not breathe. I became part of the ground. The voice stopped 2 meters from where I was hiding. I heard it giggle, and then it walked away. I stayed in those bushes until the sun came up, until I could hear other people in the park, until the world felt safe enough to stand. When I got home, my mom was in the kitchen. My dad was gone. She hugged me for a long time without saying anything. She never explained. She never told me what he was. She never told me why the voice in the dark that night used her face but wasn't her. She just held me, and I understood, finally, completely, why she had spent years teaching me not to come out. No matter what I heard, no matter whose voice was calling my name. I woke up in the dark, and I didn't know where I was. And then I heard the footsteps on the stairs, and I remembered. I was 11 years old, at my aunt and uncle's farm for the weekend. My 2 cousins and I had spent the afternoon exploring the abandoned property next door, a place empty for decades, old buildings still standing, furniture still inside. The kind of place that feels like whoever lived there just got up one day and never came back. My cousins had filled my head with stories. A man went crazy, killed his whole family, came back every night as something angry, still looking. I was old enough to know they were probably making it up, young enough to feel it anyway. We'd been playing hide and seek when it was my turn to hide. I ran for a flimsy brown barn on the edge of the property, 2 stories, living quarters on top. There was still furniture inside, rotting mattresses, tattered clothes. I found a small bedroom with a closet at the back, long black dresses still hanging inside. Perfect. I squeezed in behind the dresses and forced the folding door shut. A thin sliver of light came through the crack. I crouched down, knees to chest, and waited, and waited, and waited. My head drooped. When I opened my eyes, it was pitch black. No sliver of light, no sound from outside. Just the absolute dark of a room that hadn't been lived in for decades, and the slow dawning realization that it was now nighttime and my cousins were gone. I tried to stand, and a cramp seized my calf so hard I went back down. I was squirming when I heard it. A door slamming shut downstairs. I froze. Silence. Then, footsteps at the bottom of the stairs. Not a child's footsteps, not the quick, light patter of someone my age. These were slow, heavy, deliberate, and after every other step, a thud, like something being set down or dragged. Step, step, thud, step, step, thud. They were climbing. I pressed myself back against the wall of that closet, and I put my hands over my mouth. My whole body was shaking. I told myself it was an animal, a large dog, something that had gotten in through a broken window. But animals don't climb stairs like that. The footsteps reached the top landing, then silence. Then they started again, this time with a new sound underneath them. A steady scraping, something heavy being dragged across the floorboards, moving through the rooms, unhurried, like whatever this was had all the time in the world. Scrap. It moved through one room and into the next, getting closer. The smell reached me before it did. Something putrid, old and wet and wrong. The footsteps entered the bedroom. They crossed the floor and stopped directly in front of the closet door. I stopped breathing. 1 second, 2 seconds, 5. Then they moved away, across the room and out through the doorway, fading down the hall. I waited a long time, long enough that the silence started to feel safe again, long enough that I started to think I could move. And then 3 things happened at the same time. A smell hit me, fresh and thick and wrong, like roadkill that had just been opened. I heard breathing behind me in the dark, and I felt hot breath on the back of my neck. Inside a closed closet. I don't remember deciding to move. I just was moving, hurling out of the closet, crashing through the dark bedroom, down the stairs and out the front door into the night. Something was behind me. Step, 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 step. Fast, closing the distance. I didn't look back. I ran across that field until I hit the fence and was through it and in the driveway with a police car sitting there, lights on. When I finally turned around, there was nothing behind me. The field was empty. The farm was dark and silent. My parents were there, my aunt and uncle, everyone demanding to know where I'd been. Police told me they'd already searched every building on the property, every room, every closet. Nothing there. Nobody believed me completely. I put it away, filed it under things I couldn't explain, and tried to move on. Until years later, one of my cousins told me what he'd been sitting on since that day. He and his brother had spent hours looking for me. He said that at one point, as they were searching outside the barn, they both looked up at the window of the bedroom I'd been hiding in. There was a boy in the window, a boy neither of them recognized. Young, maybe my age, pale, smiling at them and waving them upstairs. That's when they ran. All this time I thought whatever was in that house was trying to scare me out. But I don't think that anymore. I think it wanted me to stay. I think it was trying to invite my cousins in. And I think if my cousins had gone up those stairs, none of us would have made it home that night. If these stories got under your skin, let me know in the comments. And if you've got your own story, something that happened during a game that stopped being a game, share it below. I read every single one.